Hey everyone, welcome to another objective review after a very long time. Today we are going to be taking a look at Spark by Riddle. Spark on the surface looks like any other modern software on iOS. In terms of the user interface, it has adopted much of the style Riddle as a company is renowned for throughout their software suite. But the true power of Spark lies in the macro features that it boasts throughout the app. Now, a general email app would look something like this with the inbox as the first front screen, where all your emails are listed one below the other and a few other UI toggles here and there to get you navigating around the app. And from this very stage is what sets Spark aside from all the other email apps available out there. Just go into the sidebar by clicking the top left toggle and switch to the smart inbox mode. That's where all the magic actually happens. Turn into the smart inbox mode, which is actually the default screen when you first download, install and set up Spark. Spark actually is going to categorize all your incoming emails into various categories like read, which goes into the regular inbox section, reminders and newsletters, as well as notifications from various service providers, for example Dropbox, or your cellular company reminding you about your current month's bill, and so on and so forth. Spark, surprisingly, is also one of the few email apps that can sort of handle mobile email rendering properly. Also, whenever you're viewing any email, you can simply tap on the details button right below the subject to know who the email came from, who the email is intended for when you're using multiple accounts, when it was sent to you, or actually when it landed in your inbox. As soon as you finish reading an email which Spark had previously categorized, it automatically moves it to the inbox section for you to read later, or then further archive it, delete it, or what have you. Tapping on a single section will also expand the section and show you all emails in there, also giving you mass actions on all the emails in that category, so you can archive all of them in one go, which is kind of useful for all those spammy news. Inside the email viewer towards the bottom, you have a lot of options. Starting from the left, you have the markers read or unread, reply, archive, forward, and then the share action, which lets you do a lot of things such as mark the email as spam, or download the attachments, or print the email, move it to another folder, view the details, save it as a PDF, or you can tap on more to get the native iOS sheet opening up. So you're supposed to forward an email to someone, and then all of a sudden you get another important email coming in and you have to read that first, so you can quickly tap on the cross button, close it, and it minimizes if you click on the do it later button, and it comes down as a small tiny button in the bottom left corner, which you can tap on any time to go back to it. Throughout the app, whenever you're viewing a email cell, you can swipe it left, or swipe it further left, or right, or swipe it further right to trigger various actions on that particular email. Now, mine's set up in a particular way which is useful for me. It kind of mimics the native iOS email app. So that's what I was using before. Then I moved to this, so I kind of migrated the actions from there to here, which Spark actually allows us to customize, which we'll be seeing in a couple of minutes. Composing an email in Spark is pretty standard affair until you get to the attachments and images section, and that is when it gets really interesting. The amount of control Spark gives you when you're selecting and attaching images, or from where you select the files, which also includes iCloud Drive, Dropbox, Box, and Google Drive, etc. It really starts shining as a really powerful email client, not just on iOS, but I can't wait to get my hands on the Mac app. Now, this is another feature that a lot of new email clients are boasting about. Say you type an email and you send it immediately and realize that you made a very critical typo. Well, Spark also allows you to quickly undo the send of that email and allows you to make necessary edits and send it again. If you make a typo again, you can undo and redo the entire process till you're finally happy. But don't run into that writer's block. The various other sections in Spark also include your regular inbox, which we saw towards the beginning of the video, the archive section where all the archived emails go, well, from where you can further delete them if you don't really need them anymore, the attachments section, which only lists out all the attachments from all the emails that you've received in the accounts you've connected. And this is a really useful feature for people like myself who deal with a lot of attachments which come in from clients and colleagues and who have you. Furthermore, you can view all the emails that you've snoozed for a later time or date or both, and view all of them in a single list. Maybe you decide you want to tackle a couple of them right now because you have some free time or whatever, and get on them. Search in Spark is also one of the most powerful email searches I have ever seen in a iOS app. Now, Spark also allows you to save some searches if you frequently run them, and this can be really helpful. So you can simply go into saved and tap on it, and boom, all the emails matching that criteria right there. Oh, and by the way, when you're using Spark and you get a notification, Spark kind of mimics the native notification dialog that comes in from the top, which is pullable and all that fancy stuff, and it's pretty cute actually, and you can play around with it or dismiss it and be back to what you were doing. Whenever you open the sidebar, the compose icon changes into the personalization tab, which upon tapping opens the personalization window. Now, if you remember, I spoke about changing what happens when you swipe email cell left or right, and this is where you can customize all of that. So feel free to explore this entire section, because in my opinion it is very critical in determining how you use Spark, how useful it is for you, and also make it suitable for your own needs and turn yourself into a real power user of Spark. Now, based on what widgets you select to be shown from the personalization menu, I have Snooze Emails, Archives, Calendar, and Search. Tapping on Calendar shows you a general calendar with emails from your iCloud account, and I guess also from the email accounts that you've associated inside Spark. From the sidebar, you also can go into the settings section where you can start associating more email accounts if you need them, or connect services from a plethora of options. Personalization under settings is again the same screen we previously visited and saw, and once again I will highly stress that you spend some time in this section and configure how you would like to use Spark. After this, it's all the general personal preferences that you may have. I'm just gonna speed up the video here, so if you'd like to see what I kind of use, you may have to pause the video, so sorry for the inconvenience. Now, right as I was about to start recording this review, Redl announced the iPad version for Spark, which is a universal app, and I quickly got on it. And thanks to the new sync service that also launched simultaneously, all my settings for my iPhone were immediately available for me on the iPad. Now, this uses iCloud in the background, so make sure you have an active iCloud account set up on both the iOS devices for this to work. Now, Spark on the iPad is actually quite useful, especially given that it supports split view, because I really hate to switch to a whole new window when I'm watching YouTube videos. That shouldn't surprise you. What's interesting when you're using Spark on an iPad Pro, especially with a Bluetooth keyboard or the cover keyboard that Apple sells, well, the compose area is massive and really comfortable. I think it would be slightly wider than the one that comes in the native Mac app on the MacBook or the smaller MacBook Pro Retina, 13 inches I think. So it's quite a comfortable width when in landscape mode, and still comfortable when you're using it in portrait. Again, on the iPad Pro, the viewport when you're viewing emails is slightly smaller than I would like it to be, so I hope that is something Redl would improve on in a future release. Well, that's Spark for you in a massive nutshell. This is probably one of the longest reviews that I have ever done, and it was absolutely worth it. And the best part is, all of this is available for free on the App Store. Well, if you liked it, hit the like button. If you disliked it, well, you know what to do. And if you're new around here, don't forget to subscribe. I'll see you next time.